It's not subtle, it's big.
It's very noticeable.
It's very noticeable. Oh, no. It's not. Whatever the case, a regular person wouldn't notice it, the pashtus. And the Rebbe Rashab sent a message to tell him that he missed a note. So he was very impressed that someone was listening, was able to chapsich. So he said, it's a very hard thing for me to perform. So when I'm practicing, I don't put my extra energy involved. But when I perform on stage, then I make sure to do it right. And then since you appreciate it, so the violinist asked the Rebbe Rashab, can you please come to the theater, and you'll hear when I play it then, and then you'll see that I thought I did it right, because he wanted to see, he wanted to show. So the Rebbe Rashab said, I don't go to theaters. So the violinist said, I'll get you a ticket in the back seat, in the backstage, behind the stage. So you won't be there. So the Rebbe said, fine. And Taka went there and he listened and we got to that part. The guy Taka did it right, and then the Rebbe said, listen, and then he left right after that. So again, this is another interesting story where the Rebbe Rashab listened to classical music. So again, it can't be treif. So again, in Svara, it has to be as bad as always. But mitzad these stories, it's mashma that it's not as bad. And the pashtus, it's part of klipas noiga. And when it's something which is it's called trash music or cheap music, then obviously that's more klipas atmeis from the goy. But if it's a edel type of music, then it comes from an edel apart. So who's going to measure what's considered classical and what's not? It's taka hard. And you have to ask a Chassidish that listens to classical music, which ones are kosher or not kosher. But pretty much, I think even in the Welt, they would be able to tell you what's considered classical or not. You don't have to be a big maven in that. And that's the maskana. Kopanim in yeshivas, I don't know if it's you would suggest for a bacher to listen to it, but mitzad sheni, based on these stories, I don't know if it could be a flat isser like regular Gaisha music. It says in Shulchan Aruch Yeridea that it's usher for a man to look in a mirror. So how come everyone does? So it's everyone. There was a chassid, his name was Rabbi Avram Ayor. They say it about him that one time he came to a wedding in Olatayra, earlier years, and he came into Olatayra and he saw a yid with a big beard, and he hadn't seen the Chassidish yid with a big beard for a long time. So he ran over to give him a hug, and he bumped into the mirror. So not everyone does it. Not everyone. Today, because there's so much pictures happening the whole time, it's almost impossible not to see faces and pictures of yourself all the time. But looking in a mirror proper, I don't know if everyone does. Afal b'chein, it's still mutter, and the heter is because the whole isser is mithat la'ilbash gever simlas isha, and it says that today already it's considered tikkune gvarim as well. Since today many men do it also, it's not considered an issue. Another thing is that the chatchila it says if it's time for tikkun Russian to make yourself look prettier kiviyachol, that's not an issue. But it says if somebody has bruises on his face and he has pimples and he's putting on a cream, that's definitely mutter 100%, because it's not doing it to make he's trying to heal himself, to clean himself. He's not doing it stamazay. That's for tefillin, it's for a purpose. But if his person is doing it even stamazay to kiviyachol look better, even that it seems like today it became standard even amongst men, and therefore the place can say that it's just place to be machmir, but mashma that it's mutter. Yeah.
A bunch of things which became standard.
By this, the place can say clearly.
I mean, the other things were still also because of what
I understand what you're saying. But this place can say since the change, and therefore becomes mutter as well. Other things I don't know about. I haven't seen. Why do we sing Eishes Chayil before Kiddush? The reason it's based on Kabbalah, and the reason is that Shabbos is a day of Malchus. Sfiras HaMalchus in Chassidus is a very, very important Sfira. And on Shabbos is something called aliyah HaMalchus, where Malchus goes up to higher places. So we're Mishabeach and praising Sfiras HaMalchus, and Malchus is considered a Nukva, a Isha, and that's why it is praised. People want to say also it's thanking to the woman of the home. Now, she's the one that prepares the whole Shabbos, but that's not the Pasha Pshat. The Pasha Pshat is connected Sfiras HaMalchus, because it's a whole thing that's Al Pi Kabbalah. And in the beginning of Shabbos, the whole Malchus we say throughout the davenings, we're talking about it, about how Malchus is Sfiras HaMalchus is Eilul. Is it a mitzvah to live in Eretz Yisrael if one is not on shlichus? Especially if Eden, because Eden are going to go to Eretz Yisrael, is one of the signs of Mashiach. So that's a big problem this Bacher is writing. Is there a mitzvah to live in Eretz Yisrael? So mitzvah from Taryag mitzvahs there isn't, according to the Pesachim and Pashtus. Is there an Indian to live in Eretz Yisrael? Obviously, you see from the fact that Gedei Yisrael throughout all the generations were constantly trying to go to Eretz Yisrael. Some of them ended up, some of them didn't go. But there's definitely an Indian to live in Eretz Yisrael. regarding today's day and age, so many people that they wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael, the Rebbe told them that they have a shlichus in where they are at this part of the planet. Even people that were not officially on shlichus, but the Rebbe always said if the Hashgacha Pratis put you in a certain place, so the fact that you're living in this city, even though your job might be your place, you're working in real estate, but the fact that you're a Fruma Yid in this city, that itself is your shlichus. And the Rebbe did not encourage people to move to Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe wanted them, every person, to do his shlichus wherever he was. Again, not shlichus as an Abbez Chabad shlichus, more as any Fruma Yid in Chutz La'aretz strengthens the people that are there. Regarding that, it's a sign of Mashiach. That's a big mistake. Okay, this is one of the big machlekesen that the Zionists, their whole claim is that kibbutz galiyah is bring when all the Yidden come to Eretz Yisrael, that will bring Mashiach. The Rebbe Rashab fought against that very strongly. If Mashiach has to come first, and only then can kibbutz galiyah. So, in connection to Mashiach, there's no bringing Mashiach closer by everyone going to Eretz Yisrael. Everyone in Chutz La'aretz that being mekar of more Yidden, then people that brings Mashiach closer.
So should everybody go out of Eretz Yisrael?
B'eshkacha pratis, wherever you are, you have your shlichus to do what you have to do. So if you live in Eretz Yisrael, there's enough Yidden in Eretz Yisrael, they can do mitzvah with them as well. So everyone has to do whatever they can. With Ashkacha pratis, put you in a certain place, that means that's the shlichus that you have in this place. And if circumstances change and you must move somewhere else, so you see what the options are. If it's Shaykh to Eretz Yisrael, then fine. But derech klal, the kav is, the Rebbe's kav is, you stay where you are, and you do your avodah in the place where you are. All right, ready? What is the real reason yeshiva doesn't let Bachram go to the Rebbe for Yud Shvat?
Oh. Dun dun dun.
Hey guys, Q&A is over.
Q&A over, everybody.
There's a number of reasons. A number of reasons.
Is the number 0?
Huh?
Is the number 0?
Zero's not a number. She just says she knows mathematics.
Fine, 1. Fine, 1.
Right. It's a number. There's no value. It's a figure.
0 is nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the answer.
First of all, the first question that we ask back is, what's the real reason that Bachrim want to go to the Rebbe for Yud Shvat? And the answer by many Bachrim, starts saying numbers, is that they want to see their friends. Many Bachrim, their friends come in from other places, and they want to see their friends. That's the reason by many Bachrim. Some Bachrim are honest about it, some Bachrim are not honest about it. Some Bachrim are not aware that that's what's pushing them, but that's why many Bachrim. So, for that reason, the answer is simple. Yeshiva doesn't just give off a vacation just to visit friends. It's not a thing that a Bachrim Yeshiva is supposed to be doing. Then there are Bachrim,
What?
Then there are Bachrim that they want to go because they want to be by the Rebbe. So just a general thing. The concept of going into the Rebbe is a fundamental inyan in Chassidus. It's a fundamental inyan in Darkei Chassidus. It's a famous line in the Gemara, Rebbe Leishana Chia Minolon, that Chassidim teach, that the Pasha of the Pshat is that if there's a Mishnah that Rebbe didn't teach in the Mishnah, then Rabbi Chia, who wrote the Braises, where would he get it from? So everything in Braises needs a source in the Mishnah. But Chassidim teach the line, Rebbe Leishana Chia Minolon. If a person is not by the Rebbe within a year, where does he get his chayas from? So definitely there's an inyan for a person who has to go to the Rebbe, there's no question about it. The question comes, when is the best time to go to the Rebbe? So there was two Chassidim once, Ramad Lefutefas and Rabbi Avram Ayor were bringing once, I heard the story, Ramad Lefutefas and Rabbi Avram Ayor. And they were arguing what's the best time to go to the Rebbe. Ramad Lefutefas said the best time is to go for Tisha. And Rabbi Avram Ayor said the best time is to go right now. When is right now? Whenever you have a chance. Whenever you have the opportunity, that's the time that you're supposed to go. There isn't a specific time. And throughout the years, there were always chassidim that it was their time. They went on this and this time. For example, Tzidur Rabbanim would always go on Shavuos, and most chassidim would always go on Tishrei. And then there were people that come for Shabbos Bereishis. There were people that had a big koch in Yud Shvat, people that had a koch in Yud Tes Kislev, people that would come for Yud Beis Tammuz. Different people had their times to go, but there was no such thing as this is the time you're supposed to go. Meaning, there's no such thing as a Yom Tiv, that part of the checklist for that Yom Tiv is to go into the Rebbe. It's on the checklist for every single Yom Tiv. Just the same way it's on the checklist for Yitray, it's on the checklist for Havdalah Teves, and for Yites Kislev, and for Pesach Sheni. Every day in the year, it's always a time to be by the Rebbe. There's no such thing as one day more than anything else. Over the past few years, it began when I was a bacher, and the Tavshin Samach, it was Chamishim Shana, it became a thing that many yeshivas decided that Bachim should come in. They felt that after Gimel Tammuz, there's a Schwachkeit in the Iskashrus, they want to make a thing that everyone should come in. And the time that they decided on was Yud Shvat. I don't know why it was that. I mean, that year was Yud Shvat. It was Chamishim Shana, made sense. But I don't know why it continued. It was many times. It was Eiserus for a one-time thing, and it was a one-time thing, and that was it. The Rebbe spoke about three tests before Yud Shvat on Tashim Mem Zayin. It wasn't the thing that continued to the later years. Or the Rebbe spoke about breaking every night in Kiddush Kislev. It was 1 year. There were certain things the Rebbe spoke about one time. So here also it was Eiserus. Excited, it's later. It's teves. Remember next year. The Chevra, they know about it. The guys are makri, they try. So it,
And the fact it continued doesn't show something?
it didn't always continue, and when,
I'm saying the fact that other things were started didn't continue. And
it was started by Bachrim. It wasn't started by Chassidim, by older Chassidim.
even more
Well,
things.
careful. Let me finish till the end, and then if you have more comments, you'll be able to mix in. But Akopanim, this way, it wasn't a thing that was ever part of the specific Yud Shvat checklist. So B'meila, so it's just guys should know this. It wasn't always a thing. There were certain Chassidim that always went for Yitas Kislev or for Yud Shvat or whatever it may be. It wasn't always a thing. That's another thing. Now, another Nakuda is that over the years they were always Bachim that in the early years we select more often. And our experience from the yeshiva, even the Bachim that went Kivyachol for the right reasons, they came back worse for the weird. Most Bachrim, when they come back with an attitude that is only a month left after Yud Shvat till Pesach. It's only a month and a half, and they ended up coming back with less chayas than when they went. And many Bachrim, that was the time for them. They went home, they were able to buy other things that they shouldn't have in yeshiva, and it ended up being a yirida, tzorich yirida. So it wasn't. We didn't see any aliyah that came out of it. Even the Bachrim that went and there was no yirida, very, very rarely, if ever, did we see an aliyah. We didn't see something which there was a gain afterwards, that the Bachar grows. Does that mean that I should never